All right, I've put it. We're online now. Right, there's good news and there's bad news. Bad news is Mike isn't on the camera, so you can't see him. Good news is that Mike is still here, and we also have Phil. So Phil, myself, and Mike.
Hello, everyone.
Now, I haven't even popped out the chat because for some reason,
Amateur.
well, it always breaks. You know when you scroll down and sometimes it just skips everything. You know what I mean?
Surreal's in the chat. Stu Rat's in the chat. The Kari is in there. Who else we got? More Surreal. Sleepy Tiger. Hey, Sleepy Tiger, how you doing? Vaughn, Killian, how you doing? The Orc Boys is in. Furious George is in. A lot of stuff about Magic Mike, all that kind of stuff. Furious George. Nathan Robinson. Sean Jewett. Evening all. Inside Out Terrain. What's up? Elster Nation's in. Let me see who else. I think I've covered all of that. Scott Beale. Zelik. Chapter Master Valrax, thank you very much for sending everybody over on Monday. That was very funny, mate. Cheers. Thank you very much as well. Although you probably thought you were sending people over to Sam, maybe. I'm not sure. But
we'll try and get Valrak on as well if he's willing, because we watch a lot of your content, Valrak, so you'd be more than welcome on the channel at whichever point you feel like.
And we've got a few more. Who else have we got? Johnny Rockstar. I'm trying to just... My screen jumped a little bit then. Orc Boys is in. Let me see now. Void 72. Hello. Kablams. Ahoy. And Ryan Benfield. I think we're about... apologies if I've missed anyone. I did a quick scan down them all. And it's all pre-live chat by the looks of things. Everybody chatting to each other. So if anybody's got any questions, then maybe reiterate them. There's a lot of Magic Mike, a lot of threatening
for the questions as well. If you put in capital letters question, like Akaya so wonderfully does, or you just put at Wargame Online, and we'll see it much clearer, and we'll basically answer as many questions as we can do. Just make sure it's in capitals or with Wargame Online, and it will highlight it. You know what? I'm gonna have to go and change to another T-shirt because so many people have said that I haven't got the T-shirt on, so I'm going to have to go and change. So, Phil, do you want to take over and just read any of the questions and chat initially, and I'll just go and change? I'm getting bullied into changing.
You go get ready for the show, Sam. I'll do the show.
To be fair, you love it, so it's fine. I'll be right back.
Okay, so who else have we got? I think I saw some stuff. Furious George, Sam looking unprofessional. Is he drunk? No, he's not drunk. He's just in the wrong T-shirt. Rock8131 saying evening to everyone. And Scott Beale saying the bread of glory is here. So I knew we all love bread, but maybe you meant beard. Oh, no beard. There you go. Just popping up on the chat now. So I'm going to have a quick slip back up to the top and see if there was any comments. Surreal saying it's Friday, so Rachel's probably getting a drink on. That is 100% correct. Rachel is out on the town. Mike has been behaving himself, irrelevant to what the beginning of the chat says.
I am back.
Oh, you're back. There you go. Khaleesi, I think, is under control. The rabbit has been fed. I think we're feeling pretty prepared, aren't we? Other than the T-shirt.
Yes. I have been... So last night I did another battle report edit. Let's talk about... Okay, so what we're doing on the show, we're going to try and keep it on track. So that's why we're saying highlight a question. If you've got anything, we'll answer those. When we scroll up and down the chat, we can pick out any questions and do it that way much quicker. We're going to try and keep it on track. We've got a few things to talk about. We've got the 40k tournament that me and Mike went to. We have the Azyr app, which I've done a full video on, which is released tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. So I'm not going to go over loads, but I want to talk about army lists and how people write army lists. We have an event which is coming up in October to do with Bolt Action and Conflict 47. And what else have we got? They were the three main things. And we'll do with what Kai is saying, question, what are you working on? So we'll start with what we've been doing really this week. So we'll start with you, Phil. What have you been up to?
I had a busy week at work, so not got a huge amount of hobby done. I've been impatiently waiting for my compressor to arrive, and it didn't, even though it was promised to arrive today. But that was no fault of Steve at Barwell Bodyworks. It looks like the suppliers have let him down even after making reassurances. So I'm not going to name them. They know who they are, and hopefully they're rocking backwards and forwards, crying, letting me down. Letting me down.
You've made a few voodoo dolls, haven't you?
It means because I sold my other compressor to help part fund that compressor, I have no compressor this weekend, which means all airbrushing is at an end. So I am currently, I don't know whether this will show on camera or not, I'll try and do that. Look, sculpting my slightly torso extended avatar of Kane is what I'm working on at the moment. So that's what I'm working on. And that's about everything for me. Oh, I did do a review of this little thing here, this lark as well, which is really cool. So that will be on the channel at some point next week or so.
And you've also done you've done 2 videos, haven't you, this week? You've done the Soul Pods, which is premium. That's up on the premium part of the website. There's also one that went up today, and that is about we'll talk about your Soul Pods. So it's the lights, the lighting kits that you used, and then you've added hot glue, haven't you?
I have. It was lighting kits and then hot glue to create like a frosted lens around the LEDs, which gave the effect of these pods hanging from the forest branches was the idea. So that's I forgot I'd done those, Sam. So thank you for reminding me. I'd already moved on. But yes, no, that's up on premium. So yeah, that was good. And did you say the Vallejo review's going up tonight?
No. There's a video up on premium tonight as well, which is should be up on the website. But that is a slaughter priest, a corn slaughter priest, and it's showing how to paint the skin and the leather. And it was the model I entered for that painting competition that Matt Pink beat me on. So Matt's in the chat, and I'm gonna, he's already said that he misses the empty chair already. Anonymous Pink. I better get on TV for this. Donated £1. I wonder if that's Pink. that may be Pink.
I don't know whether it's the Pink or anonymous. Who is not very anonymous if it is Pink. But
yes,
there you go. That's brilliant.
Thank you, anonymous Pink. What was I saying? Yeah, he misses the empty chair already. But yeah, that's the model that's up for premium. Tomorrow there is the video on the Azyr app, which I think is amazing. We'll talk about it later, but there's a video out tomorrow. And then on Sunday morning at 6:00 is your review on the Vallejo paints that were sent, the metallics. And it's a really good video showing you the different metallic paints that you can get from the Vallejo range and how they go on with the airbrush. And I have to say, from watching the video, it looks brilliant.
Yeah, they are great paints. They are really good paints. Not to give too much away, but I am very, very excited about starting my Caradon Overlords.
Slippy Tiger says, why no Age of Sigmar battle report? Well, it was because me and Mike went to go and film the battle report this week, and he didn't want to play Age of Sigmar. He's really into 40k at the moment. So we played another 40k game.
Well, it's that, and I've got to mess around since the General's Handbook came out. I've got to mess around with my list because I think at this minute in time it's a list that would just get flawed.
I think
too easily.
I'm going to be doing an Age of Sigmar battle report with Steve sometime in the next few days, basically. Although it might be a week before it hits the channel, or a week or so before it hits the channel, depending on editing. But I'm going to be shooting one with Steve, so that is going to be Seraphon versus Death, I think.
Sylvanet.
So, did I say Seraphon? Sorry, Sylvanet versus Death.
And then I've also properly committed to Age of Sigmar since the General's Handbook. So I've got a Fire Slayers army for 1,000 points, which I'm definitely already done the list for, and I'll be building that. And I've also got a Stormcast Eternal list, which I'm going to be doing for 1,000 points. So that's 2 more armies for the channel on top of the Iron Jaws and everything that everybody else has got. So we just want to try and have as many extra armies as we can, so it's not always the same things fighting the same things. So that was that. I was going to do more. I was thinking 2,000 points of Fire Slayers and then maybe a couple of other armies. But we've just been hit by a massive bill on cars. And Phil's told me to not be grumpy tonight, but I'm still a little bit grumpy because the car is now costing us a hell of a lot more money than it should have done. And Phil's shaking his head. It's horrible. It's just, cars shouldn't cost that much money.
No.
So it's 1,000 points now anyway. Mike, what have you been doing this week?
So we had the battle report me and you recorded earlier on in the week. Well, the same day as that, we started working on the bolt action stuff, didn't we?
We had a really okay. So that's both of us really on Wednesday, didn't we? I said to Mike, I said I'll pick you up at like 8 in the morning. We come back to mine and we spend the whole day building all of the bolt action. And Mike went, maybe not 8 o'clock. So we did 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. And from then until about 4, we were building bolt action. And it was difficult. You know, some of the metal kits that we had that we were using, they weren't easy to build compared to the GW plastic kits that we're used to. So my MMG, the actual bipod on it is a paper clip, which I've had to bend back on itself a few times to actually stand up properly. And it's got a brushed tip protector to actually hold the gun up. So that was a little bit awkward. It was difficult to build more than it should have been. And that was just because it was bent and it snapped. And there was a few issues with the metal snapping, but other than that, we're looking forward to actually getting them painted.
Well, yeah, it was like with the metal stuff. There was only a few, but it wasn't like it was the entire lot of metal we've got. It was just the odd few where you needed to bend it to get it to fit properly, and obviously it made the joint a bit weak and that. But overall, it wasn't too bad with building them. But I think we've still got. Well, I don't even know how many points we might actually have built at the minute. I think we've got all of our weapons teams and stuff built.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on to my infantry now. So once I've got both 10-man units done, then it's onto all my vehicles. And I think that's everything I have then. For the Americans, they'll be all completely built then. And then it's just a case of waiting until the paints arrive, and then we can start working on them then.
Mm-hmm. Just want to say thank you to Zelok for subscribing then. Thank you. I think it was 1,000 points. That's what you've aimed for. And like you say, you've just got the infantry and the tanks and you'll be done for 1,000 points.
Yeah.
And I did the same. I built all of the metal models that have been sent, and I've just started today working on the rest of it. And I managed to start what is it called? An SDKFZ. It's a half track, German half track, and this is the one with the gun on the back of it. I think it's a Pack 36. But it's dark there, but that's the first of my transports. / anti-tank guns. Plastic kits are amazing though, and we've got the Rubicon stuff to look through now as well. So That's good. On top of that, we played the battle report. Obviously, that was Ultramarines versus Custodians again, but it was our tournament lists. So we'll talk about the tournament in a second, but we decided to play our tournament lists against each other and see how they actually did on a battle report. And it was, for anybody who is on premium, it's out on Sunday. It's already uploaded ready. I did that last night, but it's a very back and forth game. I think we'll probably just leave it to that. It's worth watching it if you like random stuff and you like to see Gilliman. So we filmed that on Wednesday, and that was pretty much it, really, wasn't it? In terms of building, what else have we done?
I think so, yeah.
Started putting some paint on the Black Dragons. So the first 5 Hellblasters have had their first edge highlight. All of the white is done. And I've just started painting the bone helmets that they've got. And that's it, really. Other than editing, I think I haven't done anything else hobby-wise. So we went to the tournament on Sunday, doubles tournament. We took Ultramarines and Custodians together. It was not the most optimal list when it comes to doubles.
No, we definitely went there more as in hope than anything of going to that tournament. We got to play more games than we normally do. It was going to be a bit of a laugh and hope that we would do something in the tournament.
Yeah, because the prize was really good. It was the Leamington Gaming Club that were running it, and it was at Crescent Gaming Consortium, which is where the studio's at anyway. So it's easy to turn up to, and there's no reason not to go. It was like £10 entry, so we paid £20 each. The prize was a £50 starter set or equivalent to each winner. So we
it
both
was £10 each.
£10. That's not what I said. £10 each.
No, you said £20 each.
Oh, okay. £10 each, 20 quid together, 20 quid per team, and the prize was £50 starter set per player from the doubles. So it was a good prize, to be honest. And we were both.
Do you want to go over it game by game rather than where we finished and stuff?
Yeah. So the first game was against. It was a guy who does a lot of tournaments, so he had a nasty tournament list. What are you laughing at, Phil?
Nothing, mate. Nothing.
What is it?
Nothing.
Okay.
I was thinking I've got some photos of you game by game. I could probably bring up on the chat.
We'll talk about why though before you just post up. I think somebody said Salty Sam earlier. Who was that? The Orc boy, Salty Sam. There was so much salt. I needed more jars. It was horrendous. So the first game, what are they called? The Eldar, the combination army where it's all three.
Oh,
Inari.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, so it was Inari with orcs, and the orc player is the most unlucky person I've ever seen rolling dice. He got so many ones. He was an awesome player, though. He was an awesome guy. I didn't get to chat too much, but he was fun to play against. He had an amazingly converted army. It was like mega orcs, mega knobs, and they were all converted from iron jaw brutes with all different weapons strapped to them and stuff. And the trucks were all made out of MDF trucks with bits stuck onto them as well, with giant diggers on the front. So looks-wise, the army looked amazing. He just rolled loads of ones. The Inari part of the army from the other player was just horrendous. It jumped.
Yeah, you had the other one. There was 3 units of jet bikes, a Farseer on a jet bike, and what else was there? I can't remember the name of the character.
The Inari thing? What is it called, Phil? You know.
Is it Ned? Or is that the actual
That's
god?
it, yeah, Ned.
Yes.
That was it. It was the god thing, the swirly thing. And
It's the avatar, the incarnate, basically.
We took out. Mike sent all of his Ultramarines towards the Inari army. I sent everything towards the Orcs, thinking they were going to be quite tough. There's a lot of high armor save, high wound models, and the Custodes just walked through everything and shot everything to bits. And the guy was just so unlucky. So that basically vaporized that half of the force. And then Mike.
The very first thing that happened was that Gilliman and your Dreadnought just walked up to the tank and obliterated it instantly.
Yes. Demoralizing. But then your Ultramarines got vaporized by the Inari as well.
Yeah.
And
After
then
holding them up for a couple of turns, though, which is what we needed.
And then basically Gilliman and all the Custodes walked together towards the objective, and all the Inari chickened out and ran away, and we won on points. Well, we won on holding the objective and having the what was it called?
A really fast rhino?
Yeah, the rhino. So this was another thing. At this event, Mike rolled 5 advance rolls with his rhino over the 3 games. Every single roll was a 6. It was mad. So that rhino actually won us that game because of getting into the enemy deployment line breaker. So he got us the win there. Second game was against a Tyranid army, a joint Tyranid high fleet army. It was filthy. I've never had so much filth thrown at me in my life, and my salt level went way above what it ever should.
Well, I think it was after the very first psychic phase, you were ready to pack up and go home. And it was at that point I was like, it's fine. We'll just play for it. It'll be all right, son. And so I was like, no!
We had a Swarm Lord in a Tyrannocyte drop and charge Gilliman. We had a Tyrannocyte with a 15 unit of Gene Stealers drop and charge the Tactical Marines and another Psyker. So both of those got their charges, even though they were more than 9 inches away. They were lucky to get that in. They had a unit of Zoanthropes, 4 of them, and they basically did the double smite thing against my Custodes unit and wiped it out in like 1 psychic phase. So I was like, that's half my army gone, basically. One thing, I did kill one of his Zoanthropes, and when you go down from 4 to 3, you lose the ability to heal wounds on the unit. You don't get the extra damage from the smite, and you only get to cast 1 smite rather than 2 per turn. And I only realised this because I thought this unit is overpowered. If you have Zoanthropes with a HQ, you can make a really horrible list. I read the rules for it and was like, yeah, none of that was actually... He shouldn't have been casting twice per turn. He shouldn't have been healing. He shouldn't have had the extra damage because my Vindicare Assassin sniped one of them straight away. So some of the rules, made them nastier than they were. But it was horrible anyway. They had a 30 unit strong of Termagants surrounding everything with a Malanthrope that gave everything -1 to hit. They had what was the Tervigon? They had a Tervigon putting 10 models back into the Tervigon unit. What's it called? Termagant unit? Termagan? So my Custodes charged, and it was like a scene out of Alien vs Predator. I was on the top of this building. Oh no, it was like a destroyed vehicle. My 2 Custodians were left on the top of this, surrounded by Termagants, and they just they just got wiped out over 2-3 turns. But we managed to win that game because Mike drove his Rhino with an advance of 6 to the objective. And because Space Marines are objective secured and the tournament rules said that they weren't using the update, so no troops counted as objective secured other than Space Marines, we held the objective and won the game based on that.
Yeah.
One more turn, we would have been wiped off the table, but because of this, we won.
Yes.
And the best part
was it was time wise. If it had gone on longer, we'd have been gone at that point.
We'd have had no chance.
Wasn't just that as well. They made a tactical error. I was chatting to Jamie today, and the apparently the rule for the scenario is heavy support also have objective secured in that. So they could have just rolled a heavy support up to that thing you were holding, and that would have denied it.
They could have done, but then it's based on models, and Mike had a 10-man unit versus their 3-man unit. So even if they did that, they would have lost. But the point is, we said to Jamie at the beginning of the tournament, because he was the tournament organizer, we said, this is the rule. This is what will happen if it's played like this. And you might want to use the updates from GW for the tournament. And he went, nah, it's all right, it'll be fine. So it was quite funny that we used that rule against him in the game. And he kind of looked at us and went, yeah, that's why you told me, didn't you? It's like, yeah. So we won due to a ruling, basically, not because it was a win. I wouldn't even class that anywhere near as a win. Would you, Mike?
No, definitely not.
So we won the second game somehow. Third game. Now, before we even got there, I said to Mike, we're going to struggle with anything really that isn't an elite army, but the toughest army for us to beat will be a tank army. So we turned up for our third game. They had an Imperial Guard, an Astra Militarum list, and a Primaris list. In the Primaris, there was 2 Predators with las cannons. There was a Captain, which had been upgraded to Chapter Master, giving those 2 Predators rerolls to hit. And there was an Apothecary, which was there just to heal the Captain and the squads. And there was 2 10-man squads. So, it's not a filthy list. I'm more than happy to fight that.
Mm-hmm.
The second list was Pask in a Leman Russ. Another 2 Leman Russes. 2... one Hydra, and then 2 of the other ones. Is it Whirlwinds, Phil? They look like Whirlwinds.
Yes, I think there were Whirlwinds they had, didn't they?
I don't think they're called Whirlwinds, but they basically look like an anti-air vehicle, but it wasn't anti-air.
Oh, the variant of the Hydra.
Yeah, 2 of them.
It's the same model, but without the big guns. It has the flight guns on them, doesn't it?
Yeah, so they had that.
Wyvern.
Wyvern, that's it.
Yeah, so 2 Wyverns, 1 Hydra, 3 Leman Russes, and they also had an Assassin. So straight away, and we played kill point. So, and I had 3 Primaris Psykers, which were individual units. So I was like, oh, okay, that's 3 units they can kill in a second. And we weren't looking forward to this. We'd already found out, because we had no transports other than a Rhino, that walking across the table was really, really difficult.
Well, yeah, the deployment was like corners, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah, we were really far away.
It was going to take us a long time to get over there. Plus, it meant that they could back up at any point. So it wasn't one that was looking great.
Which they did.
Turn out for us.
Line of sight rules definitely made the game. I mean, they were basically shooting from the tip of an antennae or a storm bolter at the tip of a sword. Like, we couldn't hide from anything because of line of sight rules. Because they could see any point of us, we were just getting shot at. We couldn't actually hide behind scenery. So it was difficult to even... Like, they literally had a convoy of tanks all the way back into this corner. Imagine how many tanks I've just described into a 12-inch radius. And they were literally crammed in, and yet all of them could see us because there was a bit of a gun here, a bit of a gun there, and each one of those bits could see us. It was... The line of sight rules were a bit random.
Well, the other thing that went against us in that one was the mistake we made at the start. Because for the entire tournament, we were thinking, we might just use an bombardment at some point. Because I've got Gilliman and his Warlord trait means I can roll a 5+ and I get the command dice back. I thought, we'll do it. And we hadn't used it in the first 2 games, so it came to that third. I was like, yeah, let's try it. Everything's bunched up together. It did it. It didn't really do too much. But what that meant was I couldn't move on that first turn if I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Which left Gilliman quite a distance behind the rest of the army.
That was my fault. I suggested that. But anyway, the end of the game, we basically marched everything forwards. We got most of our army wiped out, most of your army. My Custodians managed to survive quite a bit. Mike saved so many armour saves. If he saved less than he did, we would have been wiped out before that, but he was getting extremely lucky with his rolls. We didn't fail a single psychic test, so we just smiting everything. And one of my favourite bits in the game was, well, there's two bits that turned the game for us. One bit that turned the game, Mike sent his tactical marines and a rhino around the flank, and he
After they
drew
rolled a
out
6 again.
Yeah, after they rolled a 6, he drew one of the tactical marines out of the trees, so lured them towards us.
It was a Primaris unit, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they basically wiped out Mike's unit, but then my custodians were close enough to charge and then kill that unit and then move forward. So basically,
it was a way to slingshot the custodians further forward, which I tried to do with Gilliman as well, but then failed my charge.
So that was annoying. The second, I think the best, most cinematic point of the game for me was I had my 2 Vindicare assassins up on rocks, and I shot his captain one turn, took him down to 3 wounds, so he hid his captain behind the tank. Next turn, I shot his apothecary, couldn't kill him, so he hid his apothecary behind the tank. So he's got 2 characters just stood behind a tank. So Will, the guy who was playing the guard with the assassin, says, right, I'm going to deal with that assassin. So he pulls his own assassin out, and it's the attacking one. Which one is it, Phil?
Calexis?
Not the Calexis, no, the other one. It's got 3d6 to charge. Anyway, 3d6 to charge. So it's a combat assassin charging my shooty assassin, my Vindicare. He charged me. He did 1 wound to me. I slapped him and did 2 wounds to him. And then in my turn, my Psyker just turned around and smited the assassin, who then exploded and killed my Vindicare. So the 2 assassins died. It was quite a funny cinematic moment, and it was a really good game. It was very, very tense, and we drew.
It was a nail biting one. I think it was what it was up to that point is because we knew it was the last turn, we were going to have Linebreaker. They had First Blood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone had Slay the Warlord in that game at that point. But
no.
We were on. Was it?
It was 7 versus 7 in the end.
Yeah, so they were on. They had 6 kill points. We had 5 at that point, and it went down to the very last rolls of the game, which was your custodians in combat against. I think there was 3, maybe 4 Primaris still on 4 wounds.
And I almost failed it.
Yes, and it was a case of that. We needed to draw, and then we would win the tournament because we had a fully painted and based army, which gave us extra points. Because at that point, we'd won both of our first games, and so had our opponents. So we were equal on points at that point, other than the fully painted and based. So it needed Sam to make these rolls, and we would draw and then win the entire tournament. And luckily, Sam made them rolls, but that must have been one of the most. It was a stressful situation to be in for them last dice rolls. That last game overall was horrible.
Yeah, it was. It was a good tournament though. It was definitely more tense than I thought it was going to be. I'm really glad we went. I'm really glad we won because it meant we can actually start armies again. So we've got the Fire Slayers on the way. You've got an expansion on the Ultramarines. So we definitely needed to win that just to get the box sets to increase what we're doing for the channel. You won Best Painted as well, so you got a prize for that. So your Ultramarines, we've already done the showcase. So if anybody hasn't seen the Ultramarines, it's worth checking that video out. Right, we'll go through the chat actually. So we'll just quickly say if anybody's interested in Dice Masters and is near to West Midlands, they have got a tournament coming up for that. It's if you go on Facebook, type in Leamington Gaming Club. You can join the group and you can join any of these events that pop up and future games that we turn up in tournaments. So just follow them on Facebook for that.
Shall I cover the chat? Because I made a mark of where we were at.
Yes. I'm just going to do the question. I've seen 2 questions at the bottom. I'm just going to answer these. Oh, no, there's 3 at the bottom. The York Boy says, have we got dice sounds again? And we have, but they're just not as loud as they were. So Patrick Metzger has created us some dice mats and they reduced the sound so it's not as loud as it was, but you still have dice sounds now, which is what, it's in between what we wanted. Some people hated the dice sounds, other people loved them. So we've done the middle ground where they're just lessened. Second question, Akaya, what prizes did you, Sam and Magic Mike choose? So I've chosen the Fire Slayer £50 starter set. Mike, what have you chosen?
I haven't chosen yet. So I've got £50 to figure out what I'm going to add to the Ultramarines. Some of the things I'm thinking of is maybe like 1 unit for the Ultramarines and then maybe the Skaven Blood Bowl team, possibly. But I'm still working out exactly what to do because I'm not looking at because it's it's going to be obviously the Ultramarine system I'm going to be using on the battle reports. I'm not looking to make a pure filth list. That's not the route that I'm trying to go down. So I'm just trying to work out what's going to be useful to use in games, but also it's going to be cool that and I'm going to like.
I think you want Terminators.
I'm debating on Terminators is what I'm thinking about.
What did you say, Phil?
I said, is he selling Gilliman then?
Yeah, no. The last battle report, I think when you watch it on Sunday, Mike, I say to Mike something like, Gilliman's quite good for his points or whatever. Or he's really, he's overpowered. He's overpowered. And Mike was like, you have to pay for him though. And I'm like, yeah, I'd pay 360 points for Gilliman. And I says, I'll buy him 3 times over in 1,000 points if you were allowed. Like, 360 points for Gilliman is way cheap.
Yeah, but fun. Okay,
shall I jump back up on the third one then? Start the...
Oh, go on, there was one
more.
No,
we'll get back to Kablams. Do from where you're up to, and then we'll start from Kablams afterwards. I'll track this. Hold on, let me do my... there we go, I've highlighted Kablams. And you go from the start.
Big Mac Dan School joined us at 6 minutes past, so that's how long you guys have been.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm late. Got back to chasing paper boats down the storm drain. Confused about that, but that makes sense. Alt Boys is worried his wallet's going to hurt tomorrow with Death Guard on pre-order. Yep, Jack's pretty excited about that stuff too. I'm going to keep going down. Thomas Piggott's joined us. First chat I've made this week. Yes. Snippy Tiger, you all mentioned the Age of Sigmar battle report, didn't you? Let's have a quick look here. So, did Phil ever pick up? This is from Surreal. Did I pick up Bolt Action Army, or am I going to do America 2? I am going to be the Ruskies, and I have the Conflict 47 starter box, which comes with a T-30...
Four.
I forgot the name.
T-34
85. It's the 85 bit, which is the... although it does come with a futuristic turret as well, so I'm certainly a good way down starting my Russian army, although they've not made it out the box yet other than to have a good look over. Snippy Tiger saying ooh def goody, so that's good news. Thomas Pigott, do you think Necromunda will be a limited run like Shadow War Armageddon, or do you think stock will be available through and post Christmas? Can't decide whether to do Age of Sigmar or get Necromunda. What do you think, guys?
Box set will probably be like Shadow War, but I imagine the teams will be able to be bought afterwards. So
along with
if you want a discount, buy it with the box. If you're not bothered, then wait until it comes out afterwards.
Are Forge World going to be doing any of the models?
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't know. We'll have to wait. I haven't seen anything, but I can't imagine them sitting out of that one.
Yeah, because I was just thinking out of the same as the Blood Bowl stuff is they did the star players, didn't they? Which I think so. I don't know if it was when the star players first came out, they were available in the shop, or at least some of them were available through GW first, and then just went over onto the Forge World site.
Yeah.
Kablams is trying to sell his 4-year-old child away. I'm Sam, in the review video, you specifically said you would be careful and not break anything. That's from Marlborough 69. But I'm not quite sure where that's from.
That's probably because I broke the gun. Yeah, I broke the gun. Let me see if I can show it. Mike built all of his metallic stuff before I even finished this gun. One sec, I'll get the other light on. We light. Right, I don't even think this will... Oh, it's not going to show. Okay, it doesn't look too bad like this, but... Oh. Right, so there's a tiny little paperclip on the back of there, which is basically its tripod now. And I had to replicate it like the gun, because it's got one leg that goes into the ground and one leg that goes into the front part of the tripod. So that was fun.
Did you not put some pictures up of it as well on Facebook?
Yeah, but I might have hidden the paperclips.
Oh, okay.
Out of shame.
Yeah.
What else have we got? There's some debate over whether Magic Mike, this is coming from Furious George, they're assuming no camera tonight because you're actually sat in the nude.
Yes.
Interesting possibility. What else have we got? A lot of stuff about Magic Mike. Always in the nude, never in the nude. There's a lot of debate about your nudity. As an orc player, this is coming from Zelik, who just subscribed tonight, didn't it? Say, as an orc player, the faction is cursed. Yeah, I know, bless. We ought to get Pink playing his orcs on the channel, didn't we? What else have we got? Nephews, nieces are better than that. I think, remember the biggest reason? There's a lot of stuff about kids in there. People are off to Switzerland. Wow. Yeah, there seemed to be, while we went on about a whole bunch of stuff, Y-fronts, wyverns, and then Derpius Maximus came in and joined with a pair of Y-fronts. So I think that's when you were asking what the name of that vehicle was. But we were so far behind the chat that we managed to work it out anyway. Question about dice sound. So I think we're more or less caught up there. I tried to do a fast version, so apologies if I've missed anyone.
Although there is Jarny. No, there is a bit more. Phil gets more done during a live stream than I do in a month. You are cracking on, aren't you?
I think I've finished. I think I've finished the. I need to stop faffing with it because one of the worst things to sculpt for me is rope. Like, as in, it's got a little bit of rope. It won't even show on the camera. I don't know why I'm trying, but there's a little bit of rope I needed to extend after I reposition the leg. So you've got to join green stuff up onto the end of rope and then back to another bit that was cut. And I hate sculpting that stuff. I hate doing that. I don't know why, but I've managed it. I'm not very happy with it. I'm hoping that a really dodgy paint job will cover that up.
He's also said, did you see Spiky Bit's story about GW shutting down the Bits website? I don't think it was confirmed whether it was GW or not yet. It's just they've had stuff removed from Shapeways. So I don't know until the story has actually come out, whether it ever comes out. I don't know. All I know is the Shapeways shoulder pad bits that I bought, the insignias for the Black Dragons, are awesome. So, it's GW's IP at the end of the day. If they can say this is our icon and somebody has copied it and printed it and making money off it, then fair enough, they probably should be shut down. If it's not owned by Games Workshop and they're doing things like, cloud icons and swords and spears and they work for the hobby, I don't understand, why that's an issue. They're selling something, they're creating something which is usable in our hobby that isn't owned by anybody, so they should be allowed to do that. I just think taking somebody's icon as it is and making money off it that's been invented by somebody else, you're going to be in trouble with that. That's the only thing. And there was a bit on quality as well. I know Luke's APS was doing a video on the quality of Shapeways products. And Shapeways is basically like a marketplace for different people to come and sell their 3D printed products. So it's not Shapeways as a whole. It's the individual creators that are basically selling stuff. And the stuff that he had from Shapeways, some of it was basically really overpriced. I watched Luke's video and it looked pretty poor for the price that they were charging. However, the stuff that I got from Pop Goes the Weasel, those insignias, they were brilliant. I mean, they were expensive. It was like £17 for 60 of them, and then you've got to pay £8 shipping. So unless you buy a bulk of them, they're expensive. But quality-wise, the frosted, whatever it's called, the frosted material was actually really good. So
just to jump in there, was it not Pop Goes the Monkey?
Pop Goes the Weasel. Pop Goes the Monkey. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
I like Pop Goes the Weasel. That's a good name for a channel.
Anyone knows how to defeat Nagash in a 2,000 pitch battle? I play Iron Jaws and Beastclaw Raiders.
A hammer.
I'd say in pitch battle is not as bad. It's if you play in the normal one where you can summon so much. Nagash's bonus is from the amount that he can summon and the fact that he can pretty much on a 50-50 kill any sort of character with his Hand of Dust move. So I would chuck numbers at him and just surround him, basically. Either that or tar pit him and ignore him and wipe out the rest of the army and then come back to him with the rest of your stuff. But I've not fought... I mean, Phil... what's his name? Steve's got Death. He's got Nagash. So once we've got these cameras set up and we can play more games, we'll try Iron Jaws versus Death and I'll fight Nagash and see how to kill him. But we'll see.
We'll see. I've not come up against him. I know he's tough. Has he gone up in points?
No, he went down in
cheaper,
points.
I think.
Has he gone down in points? That's even worse.
He's 800 now, I believe.
Right. Ouch. Okay.
Cyril says, I have a new WGO show, M&M. Mike and Pink host it. Right, we're down to Kablam's question. So he's seen a 40k tournament where no duplicate detachments are allowed. Is that now the norm, and what do you guys feel about it? The duplicate detachments, is that duplicate detachments as in you're not allowed to patrol, or is that as in you're not allowed two identical patrols? I'm not sure. Yeah, because I think I took to the tournament 2 patrols, but I could have quite easily taken a Vanguard and a patrol instead. Or it might have been 2 patrols and a Vanguard. I'm not sure. I could have broken mine down even more to get more command points, but I didn't bother.
To be honest, I haven't had enough experience of the game to make a judgment on that. I don't know how much detachments are kind of breaking the game, if you know what I mean, or whether they are, or whether that's the route to break the game at the moment.
I think the route to breaking the game for me is the primary psychers or cheap casters just spamming smite. It's really, really powerful. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
And Pink was saying that one of the things he saw was there was taking the assassin that is you need 6s to hit it always, and then taking characters running with it. So you have almost like a Gilliman. You could have Gilliman with these assassins, 10 assassins in front of them, and you basically escort these nasty characters into combat. And anything that's trying to shoot at Gilliman has to shoot the closest unit, which is one of these assassins, and they're hitting on 6s. So you just, when one of them dies, another assassin's there to take up the hits, and you just deliver Gilliman.
In seventh, was it before? I might be wrong on this, but wasn't the rule with the assassins you can only ever take 1 of that type in an army?
No, don't think so. You were just that guy. Maybe that was it. We had a comment where somebody said someone was doing an impression of being that guy, and it was you and me playing, and we couldn't figure out which one was being that guy because we both had an enjoyable game. Maybe it could have been you for taking Gilliman or me for taking 2 Vindicare assassins.
No, it'd be you, Sam. What else have we got going
Cheers,
Phil. Question: what prizes did you get? I think you've chosen that, haven't you? With wow, crikey! What else have we got going off then?
Is this the start of a regular?
Surreal's calling me a dirty red commie.
Nice. You missed a question though.
Have I? Go on then. Which one?
Akaya says, "Is this the start of a regular doubles tournament team? Any more event tournaments?" There's the one that we're going to talk about in a little bit, but I don't know whether we're going to be able to go. We'll have to find out. Doubles tournaments have always been my favourite. I don't really go to tournaments unless it's a doubles event because I don't find them as fun. I think when you turn up with a mate and you really upset your partner, there's no better feeling than that. Mike, the whole tournament, Mike's like, "I'm not going with you next time." And at the end, he was like, "It was actually good." But
so you were getting stressed out by just playing the games and what was happening. I was getting stressed because of you.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to take Phil. #Gilliman every day. That's from Pink. Furious George is heartbroken that you're married, Mike, but you're not married, are you, Mike? You've just got a ring.
No, not yet.
I think it's because he spotted a ring on your finger, so...
Yeah, we are engaged. We've been engaged for a number of years now.
Better put a ring on it.
This is from Zealot, where do you get your static grass? I feel weird buying that stuff online. To be honest, I buy tufts, the little static tufts grass things. I don't buy static grass in a tub anymore. I just find the tufts are so much better. So Games Workshop ones, or you can buy eBay. We'll have to have a look actually, because I generally stick to GW, but there's probably hundreds of suppliers that sell nice static grass and tufts.
Unless you've got one of those little static machines, the static grass never really looks that great anyway, because it just scatters all over at different angles.
Yeah.
But if you've got one of those little static shakers that make it stand up, they're pretty cool. But again, all good to use. You might as well just use the pre-made tufts. A lot easier to work with.
Furious George is saying Phil is definitely better at quickfire than Sam.
Ciao.
Better at many things than me. Why should this be any different? Forge Order doing weapon upgrades for Necromunda, I think, says Kablams. Let's just go through.
Thanks, Kablams.
Slippy Tiger. Magic Mike has an ultramarine mankini with the U strategically placed. That's awesome. Mikoyo, after winning the 40k tournament, do you feel more confident now to attend more tournaments? Will you make your list more competitive like your opponents did? I think I'm definitely more confident in one sense, but not in lists.
We got a bit more familiar with the armies and stuff. But like we said, if we were going to do any more tournaments, we'd definitely design a tournament list, because what we took is what we had, basically.
Yeah. I think once you know what rules and what event pack, when you've got that, you can design a list around the event pack. I think it is key. If you're going to a tournament which is based around people taking, because it was supposed to be a fun, friendly tournament. And it was, but there was also nasty list. So you can have fun and friendly, but also then on the table it's nasty. And that's what I think you need to make sure you find out what you're doing. If you're going to a tournament which is filth, take stuff that's going to be able to compete. And we kind of could have done a lot worse than what we did. That stuff on Luke's APS was junk. Yeah, it was overpriced. Like he said, I think he said if it was a couple of quid, it would be worth it, but not for the price they were selling it at. Will Sam and Magic Mike get matching tattoos now? The WG on the left buttock is a great one to do. You already have the O, so you only play 2/3 of the price. +1 Mike. Don't know what that's in relation to. Okay, a lot of stuff about the Luke's APS video. There's a lot of chat. There's no more questions though. Don't do it, Sam. You can't hit old undead dogs. Oh, gods. He corrected himself. So, where are the undead dogs running around from? The writer Sophie Stevens saying, "Hi all, with the Shapeways thing, I'm quite annoyed as I ordered stuff from the Pop Guys a few days ago before all of this. Now I'm worried I might not get my chapter stuff. I hope that I get which is Carcharodons. I don't know. That I hope get refunded, as there was other stuff in the order that seemed to be going through the development process from other people, so there's hoping I can get the bits." Yeah, I mean, I think you either get a refund or you get your stuff. That's one or the other. And there is a thank you for subscribing, Zabo Daniel. There is a price guarantee or some sort of guarantee on there. I think you can get a refund on it. It's almost like Amazon and eBay. They've got certain things in place, so you'll be all right. MCM's been running Dad's taxi service. Thank you for joining.
Friday night, Dad's taxi service.
Did Phil just do Uncle Atom's chow noise? Probably. And I did it yesterday on the Battle Report without realising.
In fairness, I didn't know that Uncle Atom did a pachow noise. I've watched quite a few of his stuff, but I didn't realise that. So I apologise for any IP infringement on Uncle Atom.
I did it when I think the Battle Report that me and Mike played, I was moving. I edited it last night, so I only noticed when I started editing it. But I was moving the Primaris Psychers across the board. I was going, pachow, pachow, pachow. And then when I watched it back, I was like, that's just ripped off somebody else. But I can't change it.
We've been doing it in our household because of Blue Harvest, because we've been watching a lot of Star Wars, but as we're getting into X-Wing. And it's the bit where the Millennium Falcon takes off from the Rebel base and the little dude in the tall tower goes, pachow, pachow, as it takes off. So we've been doing it a lot over the last week, but it was our reference point was Blue Harvest, not Uncle Atom. So
I just make noises again. And they're always copywritten. Any noise, if you go pew pew lasers, that's from something, I imagine.
Pew pew, pachow.
Pew pew pew.
Okay.
Right, Sophie Stevens ended up buying up more bits than I had originally intended, so maybe it will turn out all right. Although GW is missing out on me buying more Marines. I think we just need GW to release the stuff. If they had Black Dragon transfers or little upgrade sprues, I'd buy them. They don't, so I've got to buy them from somewhere else. And Thomas, go on.
That is the frustrating side of it, isn't it? Because obviously, they're absolutely right. It's their IP, so it's not a defensible position in that respect. But also the reality is those pads are no good unless you're sticking them on Marines. Mm-hmm. So from an end user's perspective, you've got no alternative other than hand painting that symbol on every shoulder pad, or doing them yourself. So I suppose the issue from their point of view is people are profiting from it. It's not like someone's made it for their own army and then selling them at cost, if you know what I mean. I suppose.
Yeah. Thomas has said Uncle Atom loves Uncle Atom, and Atom and WGO are my fix. I'm glad you enjoy, Thomas. Thank you for watching. Caradons is correctly pronounced. Spesh Marines. Oh, Space
Space
Sharks. I just said Space Marines because that's standard. Space Marines.
Space. Okay.
Right, cool. We've caught up with the chat. Well done, everybody. Any more questions? Stick them down. We're going to get on to the next bit, which is the Warhammer Azyr app. And I'm not going to go into this much because I've done a video on it, which is out tomorrow morning. So if you actually haven't seen this app, then just watch the video. It's out at 6 o'clock in the morning. So, if you're watching this back, and it's probably available now. Otherwise, wake up tomorrow, whatever time, and you will be able to see it. But the app itself works brilliantly. In the video, I said how awesome it was that they updated it only days after I emailed them. And there was, they've updated it completely or whatever. And then the next part of me showing you in the video is something that wasn't updated. So, there are still a few things that need ironing out. But overall, it's brilliant. There's regular stuff being updated on it. It's an easy way to make army lists for Age of Sigmar. And it's £1 a month. So it's not going to break the bank. Games Workshop, you could have quite easily seen a £4 or £5 a month subscription fee for that. But £1 a month is cheaper than the Wargamer Online subscription. So it's one of the very few many things that we've seen that is cheaper than our own subscription. So it's good. It's definitely recommended. And it's very quick and easy to find the rules on there. But I was just going to see if there was anywhere else, any other apps that people have used. I've asked it again in the video that's coming out tomorrow. So leave it on there if you want to make some sort of comparison. But Mike, how do you make your army lists?
Normally speak to you and get help with it. That's
True.
the way I go about it. The one thing I did like with that app, and I won't go in too much into it because obviously you're doing the video on it, was that you can take pictures of your own models and use them on the list.
Yeah, I didn't actually. I mean, I said you could do that in there, but I didn't show it happening. But yeah, you can just take a picture of your model, and on your army list that you print out, your picture of your model is on there. So if you go to a tournament and somebody says, "What is this model?" Because if you just got a name of a unit and you don't know what it is because you don't play the army, if you just look at a list and go, "Yeah, that's the green one, that's the one with claws or whatever." Surreal's put Mike just throws darts at a dartboard. That is how you make an army list. Phil, how do you do yours?
Right. Oh, hold on a sec. Ugh. I was trying to find a paint. I can't find. What's that dirge colour? There's something dirge.
Skaven Blight Dinge.
Thanks. I at least know what I'm looking for now. Quartermaster. That's my favourite app. And particularly the latest version of Quartermaster because it enables you to go into the factions and edit the parameters of the factions yourself really, really easily. So one of the things you used to have to do in the past is you'd have like the Craft World Eldar, but then you'd have to download the Forge World supplement faction, and then you'd almost have to do them as allies and those kind of things to get it to work. Whereas now, when I wanted to add the Warp Hunter to the Craft World Eldar, I just went into the faction editor, copy paste one of the tanks, altered the stats, and boom, all good to go again. So I quite like. I haven't checked out that app, and I haven't even watched the video yet, Sam. So I apologise.
It's quite a long one as well, actually, though.
I'm sure it's going to be brilliant. I can't wait to watch it. So I will. The problem is I'm almost avoiding it because I really like Quartermaster. I don't want you to convince me to start using something else. But so that's what I do.
For Age of Sigmar, I'm fully converted to the app. For 40k, there isn't one yet, but there is one coming out. They're doing a painting app first, which is out next Saturday, I believe. So you can download that for free.
Big old competition with that as well, aren't they?
Yeah, you can win 100 paints if you download it. So if you've got a phone and you can download the app, just download it. Actually, don't, because that makes it harder for people to win the prize. The less people that download that app, the better, the more chance there is in winning. WGO, any progress with the Dreadsaurian? It has moved position in the wardrobe, but no, I've got so many other projects to do, which I need to get done so that we've got more variety on the channel, first of all, rather than an addition to the army that Rachel's got. So I'm priority-wise is Bolt Action and Black Dragons. Then I'm going to have the Fire Slayers and the Stormcast get built at least to 1,000 points so we can use them in battle reports so that we've got more Age of Sigmar. And then after that, I'm going to do the units and expansions on the armies. So Rachel's got a lot more Seraphon units. And the first one which will be added will be the Dreadsaurian. And then I can start looking at adding more armies after that. But and Frostgrave. Pink and Rachel are scheming amongst each other to make an awesome Frostgrave campaign or at least some games that we can film for the channel. And we've created our warband. So we'll talk about that on another chat or maybe on a separate video. But we've all chosen our wizards, we've chosen our spells, we know what warband models we're using, and we just got to get them built, painted, and start playing some games. So what is this? I always envy. This is Zelek. Oh, what is this? There's more. Hold on. This is from Pink. Mike just goes something Gilliman something. That's how you do your army list. Surreal's put you need to dress Khaleesi as a Dread Saurian for Halloween. Oh, we could. Although she could probably eat a Dread Saurian anyway, even at full, normal scale. She'd fight it. Zelek is saying to Fozzie Wozzie, I always envy Gurgle players' fun sculpting projects. Yeah, they are. Nurgle are awesome for sculpting. Thordalim, welcome. Thank you for joining. Akaya, did Sam or Magic Mike get the 30th anniversary Primaris Mini? No, not for £20. That's a unit almost, or a Blood Bowl team. I'd rather buy the Dwarf or the Goblin Blood Bowl team than a one Primaris special model that doesn't look that special. So for me, not interested. What about you, Mike? Are you bothered about it?
No, not so much. Just because it looks like it's one that you could sort of make yourself from bits and that. The one thing I did like was the limited edition when the stores have the birthdays. Limited edition captain, the Primaris captain. I really like the look at that one.
Yeah, I do like that one. I like the Terminator as well. The birthday Terminator, the big one, the old one, not the Primaris.
Is that the one that's in the box now? In the box with Terminators now that you can get?
No, you have to spend like £100 and then you can buy that for like 20 or 30 quid. It's quite an expensive one, but it looks amazing. Liam's asked, "Are you getting a Stardrake, Sam?" I'm, not initially. I'm doing 1,000 points, and I've pretty much chosen everything that's out of the new Blight box, whatever it's called, Blight War. So I've got all of the units from there, plus a couple of extra stuff that I've got. It's not a tailored list in any way, shape or form, because I'm just using the Stormcast I have available. But it's just so that I've got 1,000 points. We're going to get them airbrushed with the Vallejo metal range, because after seeing Phil's review of them, I'm definitely just going to say I need that metallic with that metallic, and they need to be airbrushed. And then I can start building up the detail, because they look fantastic. So Stormcast will look very blingy.
Super bling.
Okay, cool. So that's those two down. Let's have a look. What was the third thing? We've got the event. Let me see if we can get this working. So we need to look at events later on in the year and next year and stuff and see what we can actually attend. But this one is from... How do I get this screen up again? 1 second. Browser. There we go. Right. Now, this is called Initiative 2017. It's a World War II themed 2-day event, and it's Conflict 47 and Bolt Action, and it says there's other stuff in there. So you've got Doctor Who and Test of Honor competitions. There is World War II cosplay in there, and there's also a painting competition. So it's in Telford, Shropshire. So if you're near there or if you can get to there, that's where it is. And it's at questingnightgames.co.uk for all the information. So I'll bring up the website in a moment. But I don't know whether we're going to go. Or if we can go, I think it's worth it because we're starting to do the conflict and bolt action stuff. And especially since Osprey sent us the new book, the Japanese are coming out for the Conflict 47 range. I'm so happy. I've got some samurai style models that we can use now. So I'm well and truly going to be starting Japanese.
That was the funny thing is because it was the other day when me and you were building it, and I said, well, when do you think we'd do add on to conflict and stuff like that? And you go, well, I'd need to wait at least until the Japanese realm, and then you get that a couple of days later. I just think it's brilliant.
I think it was the next day. So we built everything. The next day I get literally just an envelope through the door because this is how Osprey Games surprise me now. I come downstairs and there's a letter, there's a package in the door, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. There's another surprise. Last time it was for the Frostgrave, the Archipelago or whatever it is, the update for the Frostgrave.
Pirate one, wasn't it?
Pirate stuff, which we've got to play. Yeah. And then this was the new book that I didn't even know was going to be released. This is out in October, and it's got the updates for the Finnish and the Japanese. So the two new army lists to play both of those, and updates for the rest of the armies. So it was pretty exciting. I literally went upstairs, I read through the entire book, flicked through all the pages, checked everything, and saw Samurai Conflict 47 units. and then basically did a video on it and put it up the very same day. So I was super excited. This event has basically popped up again. Didn't know anything about it until the other day. And because it's conflict and bolt action, I think it might be worth attending. So price-wise, I think it was 15. Yeah, so £15. It's £20 if you go with a partner. So maybe 4 of us could go in class. I could go with Mike, partner. Phil, you could go with somebody as a partner.
Yeah, I'm going to go dressed as Vera Lynn as well if it's fancy dress.
So that's, we can easily go for that. 21st and 22nd of October. And then they've basically got this event pack. And I think this is available. So if you go on the website, it is, if you go on questingnightgames.co.uk, and then the event is on here. So there's an event pack that you can actually click on with the overview, the schedule, and all the operations that are available. Loads of information on here as well in this rules pack. Pink has a name, Yeah. Do you want to go with Pink, Phil? Right.
I don't know. Is he going to Vera Lynn because I don't want to clash?
he wouldn't. He'd be a very small Vera Lynn. Be like a hobbit version of Vera Lynn. I wanted to this is the thing that drew me to this event anyway. It was the amount of detail that's gone into the event pack. So it's got background for the actual event. There's loads in here. So there's 34 pages for this event pack to look through on the actual games. I don't think we'd even play. We'd just turn up and have a look around and take some pictures and buy some stuff. But there's a full event here. The first day is on Saturday. It doesn't open till 2:00 in the afternoon, and you've got one operation that you do. And then that lasts from 3:00 until almost 7:30, 8:00. And then they do the announcement of whoever wins that game. Then the next day, it opens at 10, and there's 3 rounds. And then at the end at 5:00, you've got the results and the prize. So 2 days, but obviously only the Saturday starts from 2:00, so it's not 2 very long days. Looks very good. I'm just going to go through this, but if you're interested, download the event yourself, and we may see you there. And at the bottom, let me just keep going. We've got the rest of it. So open play RPG. There is an open play event there, so you can just turn up and try things out. There's a Conflict 47 RPG, so I could just play Samurai and dishonor myself. Meet the makers, so the representatives from Warlord and Clockwork Goblin are going to be there. I imagine we may see Charlie there, potentially. And then there's a trade stand as well from Questing Night Games themselves, because they sell Warlord Games products as well. Then there's a Doctor Who event. Let's keep going. Test of Honor as well. And then cosplay. And there's loads of rules on what you can and can't take. So if you are going in cosplay, you can't take metal blades. You can't take explosives and incendiary devices. And you cannot take, just in case you were wondering, functional strung bows or crossbows, sharp arrows or bolts. So, yeah, none of that, please.
It's just going to be a microphone.
Painting competition as well. That's there. And there's forms on how to enter for all of that. So that's the poster. That's that. I think I'll post it up on our Facebook page as well. Not the group, I don't think, but on the page. And if anyone's interested, you can check that out. All right, let's turn off the browser. We'll catch up with chat. What are you actually working on anyway, Phil?
I'm painting the claws of my 10 Gene Stealers.
Okay. Matty Pink says,
Right.
I'd rock it.
I thought this was a hobby hangout, so I got a bunch of hobby I needed to get done. So I know I'm a little bit.
That's all right. Hobby Hangout's next Friday, but you're more than welcome to do hobby.
I didn't realise. Okay.
In the US, the 30th anniversary mini, this is from Scott, is $40. It's just far too expensive for one model. I just can't understand the pricing on it. If it was something spectacular, even the chaplain.
There needs to be more to it.
But like the chaplain and the apothecary, they're expensive models. They're definitely expensive, but they're unique looking. They're very cool models, and I can almost justify it. I bought them. Obviously, I did justify it, but that was a push. £20 for an individual model that doesn't look amazing. It looks like he's had a sword put on his back and some different icons and stuff. There's nothing major to. I mean, somebody's going to love it. People will buy it, and others will buy it just to scalp people on the internet, just to sell it as a limited edition thing. But for me, it's just not stood out as other things do.
Can you buy it? Can you buy it with a squad? Is it, or is it just a separate?
Just a separate.
Lister? Okay.
Mm. MCM 1966 says, "How about some AOS skirmish?" We did talk about that, Mike.
Yeah.
We have got the Age of Sigmar skirmish book, and we need to still open that and have a look at it. It's something we bought a while ago, but we just never got round to it. And Frostgrave is awesome in terms of a skirmish style game, which isn't around trashing your opponent, but it's all about capturing treasure and progressing your warband and your wizard and having fun. And we're definitely interested in trying that out. I think what tends to happen when we play any Games Workshop game is we tend to try and just smash the other person. And skirmish is still around killing the other person, not collecting treasure. And there's some amazing rules that we looked at. Like Mike's got the idea of creating. This is for Frostgrave. He's got the idea of creating gateways in the side of a building so he can teleport through it, grab the treasure, and jump out and run away. So it's like that sort of level of just thinking outside the box. I've got one. I'm giving away what I'm actually playing now, but I basically I summon a zombie, and then one of my abilities is that I can kill one of my own warband to heal myself. The downside of that is your warband member will permanently leave your group. So if you give him some really cool equipment and you drain his life and kill him, he ain't coming back, and you're not going to get your equipment or anything. Whereas if I raise a zombie and then drain his life and kill him, I can summon another zombie back up again. So that was two spells that I've combined together. And then the third one that I chose for my main spell was something that basically could one hit an enemy, but the chances I could almost kill myself. So I can use my own health to increase the casting value so that I can cast it. I could kill Mike in one hit and then die at the same time. And whoever's left on the table runs around and grabs the treasure and wins. So that sort of level of thinking and gameplay is definitely different to skirmish. And we're going to try that first before we do skirmish, I think. Jealous, Las Vegas Open. What else is there on here? Akari saying looks really good. Have to check it if I'm working that weekend or not. So Akari is definitely getting in. We never did Bolt Action and World War II stuff. We've started now, and it seems there's a lot of people on the Facebook group, especially that have decided to start at the same time. And Akari is one of them who's just gone, over and above with that. Is every day there's a picture of the new mound of models he's bought for Bolt Action or Conflict, and I think we're going to have to meet up, Akari, and play some games, or you can head to the studio and we'll play some games there as well. But we'll probably see you at the event if we're going. And if anybody wants to go on that Facebook group, what is it, Phil? I've not even talked about it for a while. It's Wargamer Online, all one word, and then space community, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So
we need like a text box on the screen so that people can be reminded, like a little Facebook icon with like Kabams does at the end of his videos, but we'll just put Facebook on there with the actual name of the group so people can join that. That's a good idea.
Sounds like a plan.
Sam's going to turn up and get turned up. I don't know what that is.
I've just seen Surreal saying at Wargamer Online, let's see you try and stop Phil from hobbying.
Trying to see if there's any other questions. The Orc Boys are saying it's just a Primaris with a sword stuck on. Yeah. Derpimus bought the 40th. Yeah, exactly. I'd rather buy 5. Yeah. Derpimus Maximus says, I bought the 40th anniversary White Dwarf, but largely because I'm a mug. It depends on... Is that the one that is just the normal Dwarf Slayer with a different paint job? Because that's the one that I didn't understand. That was literally the normal Slayer model that had a different paint job and they marketed it as something special. And I completely disagreed with that. It's like 1 week it's like £10, the next week it's £20 or something. It might not have even been that, but it was mad. Just buy everything, says Turrican. It's one way of doing it. And there is a Terminator Chaplin model collector's edition. That might be the one that I was interested in. He's basically got schools and then schools and then schools, and he's huge, and he's got a skull head. And
I know the one you're on about.
Crazy. What's this? Who's attacking people? I don't even know what's happening. Oh, it's because
Akari, have you seen the one about where are you guys regarding Blood Bowl? Have you seen that one? Did I miss that one?
I'm just me and Mike talked about this the other day. With that 50 quid that we won, I was saying to Mike I might just buy one of the Blood Bowl teams, and I was saying I'd start the dwarves or the goblins, one of the two. I'd be tempted to start and try it out. The problem is I don't really want to read all of the rules and learn it, so it would mean somebody else learning it and then teaching me how to play it. Not like Dave tried to do, where he didn't read any of the rules and made it up on the spot. I need somebody to read the rules and properly just show me how to play it properly, and then we can start playing it.
I was going to volunteer myself, but you never trust me when it comes to rules anyway. So
that's because
myself
you
and Jack
do
played a few.
You do what Dave does. You go, I'll be all right. It's about right. It's almost right.
Yeah.
Do it,
Primary
Phil. We'll play Phil Rules Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl Phil Rules. We'll come up with a new name for it. Come up with a name. We'll play Beard Bowl. How about that?
Oh, there you go. That's what you need.
Which means you have to play dwarves, though. I can't play Beard Bowl and me play dwarves.
I've got humans, actually.
You have. And the orcs. Or is Jack using them?
Jack was doing the orcs, was the plan.
Okay.
Wasn't it? And then you were going to do, I thought you were going to do elves. You were going to convert a bunch of harlequins or something.
But I might be doing wanderers as another 1,000-point Age of Sigmar army. So I've kept them aside for that. So what I will try and do is either dwarves or goblins. I really like the goblin models, but I don't want to buy trolls. And I think Mike was saying you kind of need the trolls because they throw the goblins over the top of everybody.
Well, I didn't say you need them. I think it's funny because like on Blood Bowl 2 on consoles, I think it's a PC as well. I'm sure that's something they do. They'll pick the little grot up and throw it.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the two. I'll have to decide. But yeah, Blood Bowl's definitely a thing. Phil's volunteered, although... Hold on. So Pink's just said, learn the rules and teach Sam. I wonder who that would be. Pink also does a lot of reading and teaching me rules. So if Pink's happy to join in as well, there's two people there. There's Phil and Pink. Although Pink, you already have a lot to work on for Frostgrave. So I would let Beard Bowl be Phil's baby of a game, and he can properly make his mark with that. What is this? Frostgrave, this is from Kablams, is pretty magical. It will take you a little while to get used to not smashing your opponent. I used to use invisibility a lot to sneak around for treasure. Didn't even see invisibility. Maybe it's because of the wizard I chose. Grots have some very stupidly entertaining ones. If your general suffers a wound or a mortal wound and a unit of grots are in range, then you get a 50% chance to shunt the wound to a random grot. That's pretty cool. Where else? There's the Furious George. Have you given up on the beard yet? It gets shorter every week. I don't know, actually. It's looking very scruffy and horrible. I don't like growing a beard, but I also don't like shaving. And then Underdog Painting has turned up, just as I think we're... And Emperor of Denmark. So great to start the weekend with you guys. So great to join us, Emperor of Denmark and Underdog Painting. And Matty Pink says, I'm happy for Beard Bowl. I think that's a good name for it, because that represents you very well, doesn't it, Phil?
Yeah. It also sets the scene for the lack of rule knowledge as well.
Nobody can get angry, though, if we have a disclaimer at the start that says, Beard Bowl is made up and ran by Phil, where the rules are his own.
It's more an interpretation of the game than the legitimate play.
Surreal. I think I've shaved once in Sam's lifetime. Well, I'm almost 30. Next year, I am 30. So if you haven't shaved for almost 30 years, you must look like Gandalf. Or, even more wizardry than Gandalf. Bring on some more Age of Sigmar battle reports, Mindspace says. So there's been a ton of interest in Age of Sigmar on the channel. And I was saying to Mike the other day, it's been a while since we've played it, which is why I'm putting a lot of time and effort into getting more armies done. And 40k, I've got the Black Dragons, which I'm still doing. But the thing is, Phil and Mike and Jack as well, actually, there's a lot of people which are very much 40k based, whereas I prefer still Age of Sigmar, I think.
I was going to say, I was saying on the chat the other night, I think Age of Sigmar trumps it for me at the moment. I don't think 40k is established enough yet.
Mm.
From my perspective, it was like 40k still feels like it's like a beta version.
Yeah.
Whereas Age of Sigmar, I think, plays it, and that's partly because the codexes aren't out for the other armies. So I don't think it's too bad if you play Primaris or Imperium or Death Guard, you're probably sorted. But if you're any of the Xenos races and all the rest, I just don't think they're quite there yet.
I think
So
you're
for
talking
me,
rubbish.
Tyranids.
Tyranids.
I don't think. I don't. No, I'm talking about flavor though. I just don't think they have a lot of flavor to them. This is not about whether they
got you.
You can create a competitive list out of them, but I don't think the rules have a lot of flavor to them. I mean, you talked about Smite absolutely dominating the psychic phase with Imperium Psychers.
Yeah.
But like Eldar can't even take Smite, not the proper Smite, if you know what I mean. So you're like, the most psychic race of the universe supposedly can't be as effective on the battlefield.
You mean
in the psychic phase?
You can. It's just your Brotherhood units can't take it, isn't it?
No, it's all Warlocks have the same. The rule gets reduced down.
Yeah. That's Warlocks. What about Farseers? Can't they still cast Smite?
Farseers can, yeah. But what are you going to do? Take 10 of those?
Yeah, but it's the same as Grey Knights. All of Grey Knights, all of their units that are Brotherhood of Psychers or whatever, they all get the downgraded version as well. It's only the main Terminator Lord or whatever, Grandmaster, that gets to cast the normal Smite.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. And then the worst Psychers in the galaxy, which is the human ones, and they're absolutely dreadful with their head blowing up all the time, wander around being the most popular. You get 10 of those, and you're pumping Smite off everywhere, aren't you? No, it's not. All my point is until the codexes are out, I think there's a lot of rules missing, and there's a lot of flavor missing from 40k yet. So for me, Age of Sigmar, which is more established now and into its second General's Handbook, just feels a more complete game.
I think they both have
saying,
a lot.
I played 40k. I'm enjoying the Sigmar stuff more. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, I think Age of Sigmar's got a long way to go. As much as I love the game itself, I think that needs more fleshing out than anything, just because, elves haven't been touched. The humans haven't been touched, really. You've got Stormcast, but that's a whole new breed. Where is the new Free Guilds, or the equivalent of the Empire? Where, the dwarves, where are the normal dwarves? You've got Carajons and you've got Fire Slayers. Are they just getting rid of Dispossessed? I want Dark Elves,
Yeah, but that's
Isles,
kind of like... I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. At least there are quite a few factions out now. You're right. The vast majority of factions don't have any codex coverage yet or War Scroll coverage. But, 40k, everything but, Primaris, everything but Marines and Death Guard are only just coming out, aren't covered at all, really, not properly,
There's no background for them. That's the one thing for definite. Obviously, you've got a lot of background.
Yeah, but I'm talking about more sort of unique rules that give some flavor to the army. That's all I'm saying. I mean, to a degree, other than the fact you're playing with different models, I kind of said this to one of the guys at the club. I was playing Wraithguard, and my brother was playing. Oh, they're not destroyers, but they're the heavier version of Necrons. The Triarch Praetorians. And they're more or less the same thing. It's just we had different bits of plastic on the table. And that's the point I'm saying. There isn't a lot of unique flavour to them yet because they've kind of reduced down the width of the rule set.
I think you might be disappointed then, because when they did the index and then related that to Primaris, the Primaris Codex or the Space Marine Codex, nothing changed. Nothing came out. The only thing they introduced was the relics, the warlord traits, and the stratagems. So there was no extra flavour.
That does add a bit of flavour. Just the relics themselves add a bit of flavour to the army.
But in terms of units, there's still going to be the same pieces of plastic on the table, just with different rules.
Yeah, but like I say, if you can upgrade your characters a bit and add a bit of flavour and a bit of uniqueness to your army, it's always been about the characters, hasn't it? It's not always been about the mass units.
I think you might. I don't know.
It feels like you can't do a lot with your army. You can't do a lot to make it yours, I suppose.
I know what you're saying. With the relic side of things, I think you're still going to be disappointed if that's what you're hoping for, because you're allowed one per army. You have to spend command point to give yourself an extra relic, and I think the maximum you can get is 3 relics in total if you spend 3 command points. And even that, they're not a huge amount of choice, really. You've got one which replaces a chainsword. You've got one which replaces a shield. There's like 8 generic relics that you choose, and it doesn't feel, like Age of, Fantasy in the past, where you created a character and you gave it a shield, you give it a sword or a certain weapon, then you'd give it maybe a special rule or a certain mount. You could change all of that. When Age of Sigmar came out, they got rid of it all and they just said, choose between a sword and a shield or a spear. And that was the options. And I think they've done the same with 40k now. You pick from the lists which are available. You don't get much customization. You just choose from something that's available. And you might add a relic or two and that's it. But it's not a huge amount of customization anymore.
Yeah.
And it's definitely changed. Well, when Age of Sigmar was released, when we got the wars, we got all of those PDFs. That's exactly where 40k is now. You've got all of those equivalent War Scroll PDFs.
Well, I mean, that's exactly the point I was making. It's like they've hit the reset clock on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Age of Sigmar is into its second year. And, there are things like the Caradron Overlords that have a lot of faction-specific rules and quite a lot of flavour to the army and unique little weapons and stuff like that are really interesting. Whereas 40k, like I say, I mean, obviously, I commend them for making sure that every faction was covered with a basic rule set, but that's essentially what we've got. I don't think there's enough in terms of, well, let's focus on Eldar. That there's not enough psychic powers. There's 3 psychic powers in two disciplines that and real limitations over which psychers can take those 2 disciplines anyway. The army rules aren't broad enough, or there isn't enough sort of bubble effects within the Eldar faction that again feels like the characters are contributing more. So that's all I'm saying. And I'm hoping that when they get to those codexes, they'll spend a bit of time either creating, formations that give you a similar thing. Will give you some kind of boon or improvement to how the army plays. I mean, I think a good example is how the Eldari, the Ined, they've got a bunch of colourful rules, but it feels like there's a lot of vanilla armies out there at the moment that haven't quite. I just hope they invest a little bit of time removing, adding some flavor back in. And it's almost intangible. I'm not saying specifically I miss a set of rules or I miss this or they need to do that. I just feel like some of the armies need a bit of flavor putting back in. And when you take all of those armies and just create a bunch of stat lines across an entire range of models across every, every faction that was available, then there's bound to be some vanillaization taking place. It lost some color, And I know you're saying don't expect much to change because nothing much changed on Primaris, but I think Primaris, they already had in mind what they wanted to do with Primaris when there was release. So to me, the book just followed up already what they were trying to do with Primaris. And likewise, to a degree, I think we'll see some new stuff with Mortarion coming into Death Guard and stuff that will add flavor and interest to the Death Guard army. But it's just, and hopefully the Eldar Codex is out soon, the Tyrannid Codex is out soon. So let's see what they do. I mean, I just hope we see a little bit of flavor back into it. That's all I'm saying. And I know that's a really touchy-feely, intangible thing that I can't put my finger on exactly what I mean. But, it was just when I get into the Sylvaneth or when I read the Caradron, my mind's turning over a lot more about, that wouldn't be a nice army and that's a nice thing and you can put those units with those. I'm not getting that when I flick through the big indexes at the moment.
You are You've chosen 2 armies. The other thing, so for the Eldar, you're going to get new powers. At the minute, you've got 3 per thing, haven't you? You're going to get 6 per one of those. So that will expand for definite. You'll get relics. You'll get stratagems, and you'll probably get some sort of thing which will give you bonuses depending on which craft world you take. I imagine all of that will be increased. So depending on if you want to take an Eyandan style Wraith army, you'll get rules to play them like that. So that will add flavour to it. But
I'll be a happy bearded fella then if all that happens.
But I don't think units will change. So you were saying warlocks being able to cast certain spells. I think you'll have access to more spells, but I still don't think you'll be able to cast smite on the full level and things like that. But you might have stuff that will work and give you more choice elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was meaning. Really, it's not like I wanted to see massive stat line changes or anything like that. It was more to do with just give me some options to add a bit of color into the army, please.
But going to the Age of Sigmar again, it's been a lot longer before 40k has only just been redone, and already we've got codexes and updates which are coming out. You've got 3 this month for you, haven't you? You and Jack. You've got Nids, Eldar, and Imperial Guard. For Age of Sigmar, you've seen Stormcast, you've got Sylvaneth, you've got Kharadron Overlords. 2 of the armies which have had books, you've got. But if you wanted to play something that hasn't got a book, which is a huge amount, they're in the same boat as your Eldar at the moment, and it's been well over a year. So I think we need a hell of a lot more updates to Age of Sigmar to bring the rest of them in line, because they've broken all the factions down. You've got like Phoenix. You've got a Phoenix faction, which is a Phoenix and some Phoenix Guard. You've got a White Lion faction, which is a White Lion chariot and a White Lion unit, and that's a faction. You can't make an army out of those units. You need bigger choices. So I think we definitely need updates to Age of Sigmar, and I would like it to go the same way as 40k and just speed it up a little bit so there's more choice. Right, let's go through the chat. I think we're pretty much done for the night. We'll go through the chat one more time. We've discussed quite a lot, and it's gone on for an hour and a half now. I think we both agree, though. We need updates. We're kind of... It's been so many years where they don't update stuff, and now we've had a little bit of a taste of GW doing updates, and now we just need more. And we're wanting more and more from them.
Hungry for updates. Hungry for apples. Hungry for updates.
Right, so Akoya is saying, Pink's got to go to the bed because he's under the thumb. See you later, Pink. Akoya says, who's going to play what for Blood Bowl? I think we've covered that. So, Sam Goblins, Mike Skaven, called the Rusty Spoons, Jack Orcs, Phil Dwarves, and Pink is saying he's got Orcs and Humans, so he'll do one of those. So he could just do another version of them.
Yeah, wasn't I doing Humans?
You're doing Humans. No, you're doing Humans.
Yeah. I'm doing Humans. Okay, then. Pink can be dwarves or hobbits.
Well, I might do dwarves or goblins. I haven't decided yet. I like the dwarves more, I think.
I'll leave it to you.
Because I was just saying, don't go through the chat. What's happening? It's going to take another half an hour. I don't know. There's probably some offensive stuff in there then. Let's have a look. Let's see what juicy nastiness there is. Death Guard Codex seems to be kicking out a lot of mortal wounds. Yes, it does. Is that this week pre-ordered, ready for next week? I think it's this week, because Jack's going to get his hands on that.
Yes, isn't it? This week is out for pre-order.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, next week it'll be out.
Yeah, next week it's out, yeah.
Emperor of Denmark, you can make Xenos more flavourful by putting some spices on them. Zelux says 10 farces is my kind of list. So it's an expensive list, but that's a lot of Smite. It's a bit frustrating, isn't it, that Smite is probably one of the most powerful spells now if you can spam it.
Surreal says shots fired, Phil. I don't know who I was insulting in all of that then. I don't know.
It was probably just disagreeing with the...
Was it just us having one of our usual...
Yeah, this is the thing. Most people would see us just having a path, a direction. They never see any of us just talking about things and arguing against each other.
We agree to disagree and then disagree to agree, don't we, basically? But usually we're saying the same thing and just refusing to listen to each other.
It's something you have to get used to, but yes. I'm with Phil on this. We need all the 40k codexes to have a level playing field. We do, but we also need Age of Sigmar. I'm not denying it. I just think Age of Sigmar is in the same sort of boat as 40k, and it's been longer. And unless you're playing one of the Kharadron Overlords or Sylvaneth, Phil, you're kind of at a disadvantage.
Or Oryx, Sam.
Iron Jaws, yeah. I'm looking forward to doing Fire Slayers and Stormcast, and I'm just going to do every army. I can never complain then.
Johnny Rockstar wants his Bretonians.
And Mindspace says Age of Sigmar indeed needs some more armies. It does. It needs armies, not little tiny factions. GW have said, this is from Kabams, they're trying to decide where humans fit in for AOS. The barbarians. I won't mind them being barbarians.
Yeah, but that doesn't fit Bretonians and all the rest, doesn't it? That's the issue, isn't it? Is that sort of civilized humans, where does that fit in? But I think they need to advance the storyline a bit to where the Chaos Waste once conquered, now the Realm Gate Wars are over, and they're starting to build settlements, you might see more of a civilized human structure rise up again, maybe. But you're right, it feels like a starting point is almost to start with barbarian cultures.
Mm-hmm. Johnny Rockstar, they already screwed up badly with getting rid of the world in Warhammer. If they get rid of humans from AOS, then they haven't learned a thing from the feedback. it's true. I think what they did with Age of Sigmar was the right thing to do in terms of getting rid of the old world. It was probably not the right way of doing it. However, I think Age of Sigmar has been better than it ever was. And I played the old fantasy. I love the old world. I love all of the story that went alongside the old world. And I still love Age of Sigmar and the potential that there is for Age of Sigmar and how much it's opened it up now more than I ever did with fantasy. So I know there's a lot of people who don't agree with that and they love the old world, but I think it's opened it up. Mike can do an army of rusty spoons from a world he's invented, and it can't be said, that's not part of the old world, because the old world was covered. It had already been. Everybody knew everything about the old world. They couldn't expand it much more other than deciding to go to another planet. And that's pretty much what they've done, apart from they've included planets and realms and all sorts of crazy stuff that they can then just make up. And it also covers their IP. So on a business side of things, they can make up anything now and not have it related to French knights or Egyptians or anything like that. They've now got control over what they want to do with it. And that's why I think Bretonnians and Tomb Kings went, and we'll probably see a few more go as well.
Yeah.
Anyone know the price of the Death Guard Codex? Not sure. I think it was £5 cheaper though than Space Marines.
Emperor of Denmark says, did someone say Necrons, followed by Furious George saying Necrons? So maybe we need to get some Necrons on the channel. Is that what those guys are saying?
Well, we've got Dave's Necrons. So, and you've got your brother as well. Dave did have a game on the channel. We've done one so far.
Yeah.
I just saw the York Boy saying General Salad Fingers for Mike Skaven. They wanted to make squats distinct too, then they made them extinct.
Squats are coming back though.
I want more Perils of the Warp stuff. That was fun. I was saying to Mike, I wanted to do a Psyker army just so I Perils more often, because I love it when I Perils. You know when you blow up and you just run at the enemy and you hope for a Perils? There's nothing more satisfying than throwing your models at the enemy and hoping to just blow up and kill everything around you. I think it's amazing. I need Psykers with wings. That's what I need.
Or just to get there faster.
Yeah.
That'll stick them in the transport.
Yeah.
So you can put several units in the transport now. So
just send 5 Psykers in a little transport and run them at the enemy. My Dark Eldar Coven have 0 flavour now. So many other armies do what they're supposed to do and better than them. Surreal saying someone call Gordon Ramsay and send him to GW to straighten them out. Emperor of Denmark, my advice on keeping your armies flavourful is to throw some spices on them before every game. So that goes even more. Inside Out had to go. See you later, buddy. Do Americans actually like Gordon Ramsay? Rachel loves him. He's put Kablam's put the man's a joke. I actually really enjoy watching Gordon Ramsay stuff. I think it's hilarious. It's probably all for cameras and things, but I enjoy it. I am hoping as the Codex has come out for the 40k universe, the 40k universe will be fleshed out a bit. AOS with 2nd edition General's Handbook has matured a little more than the new 8th edition. I think in time they'll know what they're doing and they can fix whatever they need to fix. Okay, there's a lot of chat. Smite will be count. I can't even read that out. Cheers, Akaya. That's for those fans on the I can't read that either. There was talk. What do people in AOS tournaments do? Base to base. Yeah, that's generally what we've seen. Psykers on jet bikes. So yeah, you can do that. So Eldar, there you go, Phil. Farseers on jet bikes. Charge them at the enemy. Smite. Blow up. A drop pod full of Psykers. One thing we did see, and I don't even know.
They're expensive to be doing that. I think it's for a single one on a bike is, I can't remember how much it is. It's about 40 odd points, I think.
That's dirt cheap. My primary psych is 40 points on foot, and that's a human.
Is it 75 points?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Might be, yeah.
I was saying, the Age of Sigmar, I don't know where I read it or heard it or anything, but something somewhere said, bless you.
Excuse me.
there was a Stormcast Eternal dude who basically asked Sigmar. I might be getting this completely wrong, so I apologise as this has been butchered in any way, but the general end part is what I'm after. So there was a Stormcast dude who asked Sigmar and said, "Can I have something or another?" And Sigmar went, "No." And he went, "Okay, I'm going elsewhere," and basically went off to the Chaos Gods. So potentially we'll have a Sigmar heresy. It won't be Sigmar committing the heresy, but we could have Stormcast Eternal units or factions or chapters or whatever they're called moving over to Chaos and following Chaos, and we could almost get a Horus Heresy style event inside Age of Sigmar, and you know they've got to have the story to back that up, because one thing about Horus Heresy that makes it for me is the fact that they've fleshed out the background with all of the armies, with the Primarchs, and you know what they're all about and where they come from and their views on things. And if they did the similar sort of thing for Age of Sigmar, even if it is with the Stormcast Eternals, it would be awesome. So potentially some Stormcast turning sides on that. Okay, I think we're done. So Akai is actually signing off for us. So he's put sign up to Wargame Online as a premium member to support the channel at $2.99 per month. It's only slightly cheaper than a Magic Mike lap dance. Join us on the Warhammer. Oh, I don't even need to read it. Just read what Akai has put in. Thank you, Akai. Right, thank you, Mike, for joining us. Next time, hopefully we can see your face. Thank you, Phil, for joining us as always. It's beautiful when you're on.
Good night, all.
Thank you to Anonymous Pink, which I know is Matt Pink now. So thank you, Pink, for donating your Squiddaroo. And thank you to every single person who's joined us on the channel. If you're watching this back later, please give us a thumbs up. We've got the wonderful dislike as always. So thank you for joining and disliking. We know we make your Friday night so much more special than it would be otherwise. And to everyone else who's watching, we'll see you on Monday. Is there a musing on Monday?
Mm-hmm.
There is. Okay. And other than that, we've got content coming out over the weekend, so check that out. Surreal says,
Definitely.
What do I do now? Watch all the rest of the content, Surreal.
And wait till Monday.
Thor Limited Caladai, isn't GW coming out with campaign boxes? Season of War, Firestorm, blah, 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 blah. Ooh. Restart the AOS lore building. We will check this out. And we will talk about it if so. Thank you very much for letting us know, and we'll see you on some other time of the week. See you later, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.